I swear to all things holy, treasured, and beloved, that if I hear one more of you call a strategist a healer, I'll hit you so hard you'll starve to death rolling. I've got no more patience for that nonsense, and I really hope this makes its way into the lap of a duelist player, because we already need less of those as it is. The market for you is well oversaturated, and most of you can't even do your job to begin with. At least 70% of you should be fired and seek employment elsewhere. Seriously, it's like you work tirelessly to besmirch the reputation of the competent, so let's hope that this sets you in the right direction to actually contribute to your team. If I miss any secret or forbidden techniques, like before, as always, feel free to leave them in the comments. And, once again, as always, buffs and nerfs happen in these kinds of games constantly. Some stuff may change, so check the date, and once again, I may sound calm, but these videos are not child-friendly. Starting off, what is your job as a strategist? Help. That's it. You help. Not heal. Yes, sometimes healing is helping, but people boil it down to just healing. That's wrong. You can do so much more to influence the fight. You have the largest ability on the team to take matters into your own hands and make a difference. You've got the damage output, the utilities, and some of the most fight-shifting ultimates in the game. Luna's immortality, Mantis's immortality, Adam's team revive, Loki's middle finger, Cloak's objective denial, Rocket's damage boost, and Jeff's full objective clear are all fantastic. Sure, you can't solo the game, but that's not an option for anybody else either. You have the simplest job, you just don't realize it because most damage players are horrendous fuck-ups. Let's get into our lineup. Adam Warlock, and I say this objectively, is the best strategist in the game. I say this because if you have a spotless Adam Warlock on your team, it's better than if you would have two Hellas on your team. However, this does not mean he will be the best for you. If your aim is not picture perfect, you are 100% more useful picking a different support. It's tempting to use his alternate fire because it burns through health very quickly, and you can use it in a fair bit of circumstances, but when it comes to range, don't. It's better to use your hit scan primary fire for the overwhelming majority of targets at a distance. You'll save the burst for close targets and follow up with a primary fire for the instant kill. Your healing ability will chain through two teammates as well as yourself, and it has two charges. The cooldown is not fantastic, so I try not to use both in quick succession, but don't hold on to the second charge for dear life. If there's an emergency, don't be shy about using it. Your spirit link, or whatever the hell it's called, should be held in reserve for personal emergencies or mitigating ultimate damage. You should also be prepared to follow it up with one of those heal charges. In terms of mobility, you might as well be a Life Alert commercial. You need to rely upon positioning and hitting your massive burst damage attack that I mentioned earlier to prevent yourself from being dived. You're also going to want a good line of communication to express when you need duelists to peel for you, or when you've run dry on heal charges and people need to get less aggressive. Your ultimate is often poorly explained, so I'll try to fix that. Use your ultimate in a safe position when your teammates are dropping like flies. When you do, move out from that position so that the massive radius around you reaches their death location. It will revive them back where you initiated the ultimate. Adam is not a healer. He is a sniper rifle with a hollowed-out stock full of band-aids. Healing output is still a job for you, but it's mostly a side gig to your absolutely insane potential to murder everybody. Cloak and Dagger may look difficult from the initial cursory glance, but then you play and realize they're as simple as can be. They both have separate cooldown timers, and Dagger functions as somewhat of a broad-spectrum area of effect healer, while Cloak has his various utilities. Dagger's primary fire is auto-tracking and has a large healing radius. Use it to keep people on their toes and heal small portions of damage done across an area. Her bubble is great for healing on point, since people are going to congregate around the objective anyway. And her wall is why you want to position yourself behind your team. It's going to do a lot of healing for people if you're able to line them up. Cloak's wall works the same way, but towards enemies, blinding them and applying a boost to incoming damage. His invisibility can be used as an evasive maneuver or team-wide death prevention on burst ultimates. His primary is basically a death beam. Use it if you need to do damage instead of Dagger's primary. Your ultimate is good for area denial on objectives and healing teammates. I typically like to treat it as a counter ultimate, so long as you're not trying to counter Iron Man or Magneto. People aren't gonna love me for this next statement, but then again, why would you in the first place? If the enemy team isn't full of dipshits, Jeff is not difficult to kill whatsoever. But then again, people playing Jeff don't do it for utility, they do it because they want to play Jeff. His damage mode isn't the worst, his healing isn't terrible, but they're not gonna blow anybody out of the water. He's also 100% face, which is not good for critical damage, even considering his overall reduction to it. His bubbles would work much better if people were mentally cognizant enough to reach out and touch them to get healed once in a while, but we're talking about people here. They're not that smart. Honestly, I like to spit the bubbles directly at my teammates for healing output and their speed boost. His dive is the best part of his standard kit, which basically makes him immortal until the splash damage and melee damage gets introduced. The two ways to use his ultimate are eating everybody on point and jumping off a cliff, or swimming into the spawn room with them. Just make sure to spit out your teammates. Loki is a despicable, underhanded, treacherous bastard, and that is exactly why he's become my favorite strategist. It's good to feel yourself resonating with somebody in media. To play Loki functionally, and this is a baseline, you need to know how every other character in the game functions. As Loki, you should always have clones out. That is a non-negotiable. There's 2 steps to clone placement. Put them somewhere the enemy can't reach without incurring harm to themselves, and they must have line of sight over the arena. Wherever you shoot, your clones shoot, so it is in your best interests to manufacture a crossfire. When you get dived, they are also points to teleport to alternate cover. You do great splash and burst damage as Loki, so long as you hit your targets. You will be very problematic for the enemy team if you can do that. You can even outperform as the best duelist on your team, as well as the best strategist, if you do your job correctly. Your stealth can be used in 2 major ways. You can pre-stealth to heal and avoid incoming problems, or you can aggressive stealth, set up clones, and go kill the enemy backline. You also have a semi-invincibility skill in your crystals. As they take damage, they heal all around them, and they are spawned upon you and your clones upon activation. The 2 uses for this are both in emergencies, either saving yourself or your team. If it's you, just drop clones at your feet and activate. Simple as. If it's your team, drop 2 clones spaced apart to cover them all with healing. If you don't have 2 clones, just go with 1 or jump in there yourself. It's better than having the whole team die. Your ultimate is completely situational. Wait until a crucial moment in the match to pick the ultimate, which would have the largest impact. I cannot tell you what exactly that ultimate is. That is why understanding the other characters is paramount for this class. But don't waste ultimates just to waste them. You're strong enough as is. Use them in crucial moments. Luna Snow is absolutely on some bullshit. I could decapitate a Luna player mid-match, and they would continue playing the rest of the match exactly the same. Stick your butterfly to the player who will be engaging with the most movement or remain out of your line of sight for the longest time. It provides them with health based off of whatever healing you're doing. Or, if you want, you can put the butterfly on whoever you want to heal over time. Then just focus healing on the tank line with your primary fire. Use your claps to heal yourself and fire through both allies and enemies. It's basically a railgun primary fire boost. And keep the freeze in your back pocket for when somebody blitzes you. The freeze is your lifeline. Do well not to miss it like I do constantly. Save your ultimate for game-shifting team fights or ultimate counters. It is the most powerful ultimate that the game has to offer to strategists. When it's activated, spam the swap option so that it heals and boosts your damage constantly. If you want to, bind it to your scroll wheel and just spin the shit out of it. Position yourself off-center from your tanks, and you'll be all good on Luna. Mantis is widely considered the second best strategist after Luna. And remember, we don't count Adam, because people can't aim for shit. Adam is technically the best, but not for most people. Heals aren't difficult on Mantis. Heal who is low on health. When you're boosting teammates, boost whoever is worth a fuck on your team. Vanguard, Duelist, Strategist, doesn't matter. Pay attention to how the kill feeds are playing out. If someone cannot do good damage, do not waste your boost trying to bring them up to be mediocre. Spend it on the person who's going to hit their targets and carry the game. Save your sleep the same way that Luna does with her freeze. When you're ready to wake your target up, self-boost and then go for headshots. Your self-boost is also a self-heal. Her ultimate should be used just about the same way that you use Luna's. Surviving on point, or, my preference, ultimate denial. Both are vulnerable to large burst ultimates, however, once again, like Magneto or like Iron Man. Rocket's main utility is found in his revival and incredible movement ability. The enemy should almost never be able to catch you. Your double dash, jetpack, and wall run should all be more than enough to keep you alive. Drop your revive in a safe location, typically in a corner out of sight from the main fight, and you can even put it on a flank route before the game starts so that it spawns into a backstabber laying dormant. Do not put that shit on point. When the enemies kill your team and take over point, you're just feeding them another kill. Bounce your healing off of walls so that it pinballs and stays on your teammates longer. It's kind of a shit heal, but it is what it is. Rocket's damage amplification is very good for gaining superiority over an objective. I would just recommend that you announce before you drop it. That way your teammates can end up using it before it runs out or gets destroyed in an educated manner. Also, a final note just to keep you good at your job. If people start dying, back the fuck up. If everyone just died, back way the fuck up. Stop full committing on every single engagement. If there's one or two squishies left on the objective and you're outnumbered, back out and reset with the rest of your team. You are worth more alive than you are dying on point for a half-second stall so that you can get a 10 to 15 second respawn timer. The same goes for forcing yourself out of intelligent positioning to make up for failures. You have no obligation to compromise positioning in a good place because somebody wanted to be a fucking idiot. Your Spider-Man wants to go die alone in the enemy backline behind 5 layers of walls? That's a Spider-Man problem. If they have an issue with that, tell them to suck less or swap characters. If you're a strategist playing with the team and you're busy helping the team, stragglers are their own problem. That's all for today. If you're looking for people to play with, the Discord server is in the description. Otherwise, have a good night.